Anime has no shortage of different personalities. It all starts with the protagonist, who can be all sorts of things. He can be human, monster, spirit, angel, whatever. Even a combination of so many races like Ichigo. There's really no limits to creativity in the world of anime, as these past few decades have taught us. But for today's list, we will narrow down our focus and take a look at demi-demon protagonists. You heard that right. For today, we will take a look at some of my favorite anime that feature some devilish heroes, whether they be the main protagonist or a secondary protagonist in a series. I'm sure that you have some ideas popping in your head right now, but let's not waste time and get going. Number 10. We begin our countdown with the much-loved classic Yu Hakusho. Anyone who's watched and liked Bleach should be able to relate to this show. Let's just say that Yu Hakusho was Bleach before it was cool. Yeah, some fighting words right there. If you got time to burn through hundreds of episodes and care to see some great fighting and some of the most memorable villains in shonen history, take a look at this. Anyway, Yu Hakusho stars Yusuke, your standard delinquent with no future ahead. He gets his chance of redemption in a rare act of kindness, putting himself in front of a moving car in order to save another boy. We all know how this story goes, and he gets his second chance at life in the spirit realm. Reborn as the spirit detective, Yusuke is now ready to punish and defeat evil beings that threaten humanity. We continue our list with another classic, this one having its origins way before Yu Hakusho. Yes, this is Doloro. Wait, isn't Doloro a new show? Well, actually it's a manga from the 60s that happens to have an anime adaptation right around the same era. It just so happens that the past few years have been the years where the old franchises get revived. And looking at the interesting premise of Doloro, I'm not surprised it got the green light. The interesting premise is basically the story of how the samurai lord, Kagemitsu, in his greed, makes a deal with demons. In exchange for power, Hyakkimaru will be born without parts of his body. In a miraculous twist, the boy lives, and having been provided prosthetics, seeks to defeat the demons in the land. With each demon he defeats, he regains his body parts. Along the way, he encounters the orphan Doloro, and traveling with him, Hyakkimaru looks to become whole once again. How would taking care of the future Lord of Darkness feel? For one, I believe that only the baddest of the bad would be up to the task, and that is where Tatsumi Oga comes in. If that name sounds familiar to you, you must have watched 2011 smash hit comedy Bezelbub, and had your fair share of laughs, and had one hell of a good time. For the uninitiated, Bezelbub is about the story of the titular baby finding its way to Earth. Being the son of the demon lord, baby Beel forms a quick attachment to the person who finds him, who just so happens to be the most powerful and ruthless fighter in the delinquent-filled Ishiyama High, Oga. Oga's already chaotic world takes another turn when he gets confronted with demon maid Hildegard. With that, the two attempt to raise baby Beel, a challenge so tough that even the notorious king of Ishiyama High might not be able to overcome. Hey, is that the sound of my Negima song? Well, yeah, after all, this next anime is the sequel to the cult classic harem anime. For the record, I will say it's a crying shame that even into the present era, Ken Akamatsu manga series have not gotten good anime adaptations. It was like that when I was younger, and unfortunately, the trend doesn't really change with UQ Holder. Why is it still 7th on this list despite all I've said? Well, first and foremost, for all its flaws, I still had a real blast watching it. Shifting away from the Magic Academy aesthetics of Negima, we follow go-getter Tota Konoe, who aspires to leave his village and live in Shin Tokyo. Things don't go easy for him, and after being mortally wounded in his attempt to protect his guardian Yukihime, he finds himself being revived as a vampire. Turns out that Yukihime never needed as much protection after all, as she is actually Evangeline McDowell, one of the most powerful vampire mages around. With a new road ahead of him, Tota and his newly picked up companion Kuromaru begin their adventures as they encounter the secret society of immortals, UQ Holder. Coming up next is surely a familiar face, and a pseudo-spoiler. But yeah, up next on this list of anime with Demi demon main characters is Fairy Tail.
What are you? Are you a dragon? Or a demon?
Fairy Tail probably needs no introduction now, as it is one of the most popular and notorious shows out there right now. I think it just speaks to the legacy that it left behind the anime scene, for good or bad. Personally speaking, I enjoyed it, and throughout its high and low filled run, I think it's a nice, middle-of-the-road shonen with some great moments. It's got a lot of fan service and cheesy moments, often having to do with the power of friendship, and I think that it's a fun ride provided that you can tolerate those things I just mentioned. Fairy Tail is set in a world of magic and wizards. In this world, wizards form guilds, and one such guild is the notorious Fairy Tail, filled with its share of colourful personalities. Aspiring author Lucy Hartvillier finds herself dragged into the craziness through an encounter with one of Fairy Tail's members, the fiery Natsu. The two then go on adventures and meet new friends and foes as they take on quests that range from simple requests to ones with world-ending implications. Along the way, Lucy learns more about the world as well as some of the various tragic pasts of her newfound friends and allies. At our number 5 spot is arguably the hottest anime in the past year or so. Few anime have set the anime world on fire the same way that Demon Slayer has, and even more months after the manga has ended, the anime community is still lying in wait for more anime. For now, we just have the upcoming movie to satisfy us. However, given how big of a thing it still is, I will not be surprised if we get more anime adaptations coming, and I think that the chances of getting a complete manga adaptation is really high. As for the actual series, my hot take is that it is a great show that largely blew up thanks to one episode. I had a lot of fun with Demon Slayer, and I think that the world and the setup lends itself to a nice shonen that can skirt around many problems that plague long runners. However, thanks to its popularity, it also got a lot of detractors, and I think the overall reaction is quite justified. Set in ancient Japan, Demon Slayer has quite the telling title. It is what it is. The story of Tanjiro and his quest to slay demons after having his family killed by them. Within the carnage, his sister Nezuko somehow survives and becomes a demon, so Tanjiro now has to travel the land in order to find a way to restore her back to her human state. Along the way, he gets entangled in the long-standing war between humans and demons while getting acquainted with some newfound allies, including the famed Pillars, as well as the cowardly Zenitsu, and hot-blooded Inosuke. Overall, a nice anime to spend your weekend with, thanks to its simple plot structure, charming characters, and a banger of an opening theme. Talk about a classic getting a rather unexpected revival. Devilman Crybaby is what I consider a modern-day remake taken a step further. Instead of simply retelling the story of the Go Nagai classic, Devilman Crybaby does so by updating the setting to the 21st century and maneuvering some of the themes in the past to deal with more relevant realities in the present. Other aspects of classic series, such as its themes of identity and nihilistic themes, have been retained and adapted pretty nicely. And even if you have an idea of what the classic series is about, you can surely still enjoy this updated take on Devilman on Netflix. Devilman Crybaby generally retains the initial premise of the classic manga, telling us once again of Akira's tale as he and his friend Ryo fights legions of demons looking to destroy humanity. Under Ryo's suggestion, Akira unites with a demon, becoming the titular Devilman in order to combat the forces of evil. Through their fusion, a new fighter is born, one who retains the soul of a human, but has the power and the form of a demon. But will this newfound power be enough to help Ryo in stopping the end of the world as we know it? Fusing with the demon isn't enough for you? Then how about being the literal son of the devil? This is exactly the premise of the next show on this list, Blue Exorcist. However, comparing to Devilman Crybaby, it is nowhere near in terms of how dark and serious the former series is. Instead, Blue Exorcist goes back to the good old shonen route with its fair share of captivating powers and fights, numerous arcs, and a fair share of comedy. It enjoyed quite a decent amount of popularity, and I think that it's worth a watch if you're up for more shonen. So, as I was saying, Blue Exorcist stars a main character who's the literal son of Satan. Of course, Nin Okumura started off as just a delinquent and never realized his true identity before an encounter with a demon. It was that encounter that allowed him to spawn blue flames to engulf said attacker and awaken his powers. A run-in with his dad and the death of his foster father sets off Min's journey to join the True Cross Order and become an exorcist aiming to meet friends and defeat his father once and for all. As we move one step away from the finish line, we now take a look at Black Clover.
There was a time in my life when I might have given up, but that's all behind me now!
Now, what started out as a completely loud, and I mean quite literally meme, has found its footing and become one of the decent shonen series out there. Yeah, it's not groundbreaking or anything, but Black Clover, over time, has steadily improved and shown flashes of the expectations that got the world a buzz when an anime adaptation was first announced. I really loved how the series has weathered the storm to get to where it is right now. A series that's by no means free from the tropes of the genre, but has managed to add several layers to itself to create a fun experience nonetheless. It's got cool powers, some of the most epic save scenes in anime, and a narrative that can carry itself. Black Clover is the story of the loud go-getter Asta, who one day dreams of becoming the Wizard King. He's loud, obnoxious, and comes with a brooding, quiet rival character, Yuno. Now you see where we're going with this. What Yuno has in talent and affinity over magic, Asta unfortunately does not. But like any shonen hero, Asta decides to take destiny in his own hands. In an attempt to save Yuno and his grimoire from La Beauty, Asta receives the Black Clover, a grimoire that he can finally call his own. With the villain out of the way, the two friends set off on their quest to become Wizard King. At the very top of our list is one of the hottest new shonen series, the 2014 smash hit 7 Deadly Sins. You've seen shonen in all kinds of forms, but how about one where the power levels up into overdrive? Do that and you get 7 Deadly Sins, where each and every character is overpowered and things just get crazier and crazier over time. Of course, flair and style is not everything that 7 Deadly Sins has going. Saying so will be a disfavor for its number of plot twists, touching backstories, and dramatic moments that would surely draw tears from even the most hardened shonen viewers. It is at the top of this list for a reason, and I think that it is one of the best series to get into if you're looking for battle shonen. The 7 Deadly Sins tells the story of the titular group, Knights in the Land of Britannia. Their legend lives on despite being thought of as being dead after the Holy Knights took over the Lioness King. Elizabeth, a prince of Lioness, would prove these rumors false as she encounters Meliodas, the leader of the Sins. The two set forth to clear the names of the 7 Deadly Sins and attempt to take back control of the kingdom from the Holy Knights, soon revealed to be manipulated by a demon into unsealing their race from prison. Things get more complicated as layers to the characters get unraveled eventually, nothing more than Meliodas' true identity and how his destiny ties to Elizabeth. But I'll stop for now and let you guys enjoy the story unfold yourself. We close the list with that, and I want to know, how do you find it? Is there any show that you think I should have included? Which among the 10 anime would you put at the top of your personal list? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to smash like if you enjoyed the content and add to the channel's subscriber count. If you really like this, help the channel grow by sharing it with your friends. I hope to bring you more awesome anime content in the future, so please stay tuned for more on the AnimeRegent.